Welcome to the Wholehearted Journey podcast. I'm your host, Meredith Hudson. My own journey began with losing over 120 pounds naturally, navigating PCOS, and discovering that true transformation was so much more than changing my body. Since then, I've had the privilege of walking alongside thousands of women through some of the biggest transformations of their lives. And through both my own story and theirs, one truth has become impossible to ignore. Lasting transformation is never just about changing your body, it's about changing your life. And that's why I created this podcast. Here we'll have honest conversations about health, weight loss, faith, relationships, mindset, purpose, and the lessons that shape who we're becoming. I'm so grateful that you're here. Now let's jump into today's episode. What's up, fam bam? Happy Tuesday. I'm so happy that you're here. And thank y'all for those who wake up every Tuesday ready to just dive into this episode, laugh with me, learn with me, change with me, grow, heal with me. Let's go. Oh, that's kind of cute. I didn't plan on saying that, but that was really cute. Heal with me. Aw. Anyways, let's go into this episode. This episode's going to be so fire. We're going to dive straight into some of the best advice that I give my clients. And it's honestly because it was the game-changing piece for my personal journey. It not only drastically helped me see way better results, have a much more enjoyable journey, but it just changed everything for me. And it helped me break through this cycle of mad inconsistency, and it reframed, I guess, my mindset around things. This is something that I try to encourage every single one of my clients to do. There is a time and a season for when this needs to be implemented for sure. Not everyone is in a place where this could be something that is like immediately something that they can do. Some people really struggle with, breaking past 3 days of consistency with their nutrition or a week with their nutrition. And if that's the case, then maybe this is something that could be a goal to reach to. However, I say that lightly, and I say that just to bring it up because it ended up being the thing that helped me break past that 3 day of consistency window and 4 day of inconsistent window. It helped me break through these cycles of not being consistent enough and constantly trying and failing and trying and failing. However, it took me a minute before I implemented this in my journey. It took me a minute to figure this out on my own. And honestly, this is something that was created for strictly out of self-awareness from the brain of a girl who has tried 1,000 times to start their journey and 1,000 million trillion times to be consistent and lose weight and never being able to. This was the piece for me. And that is called theming the months. There could be so many different ways to say that, to be honest. Theming the month sounds so lame. Honestly, let me chat GPT it real quick. Hold on. Let's rename this. What's a better name for theming the month? Let's see what it comes up with. I'm so curious. Monthly mission, focus of the month. Oh, that already sounds so cool. The monthly challenge, transformation focus, level up challenge. I don't want it to be challenge. The month's priority. Ooh, I like that too. The growth assessment. Lame. The habit to master. It's starting to get a little lame. Okay, let's go with this month's priority. I love that. I think it's fitting. I think it's something that also keeps it very neutral tone. Something that doesn't sound I think sometimes when we label things as challenge or mission, it can just be exhausting even just saying that out loud. And how many people get the ick when you hear challenge because of all the challenges that you've went on that were just part of diet culture. Not the best. But anyways, this month's priority, what I want you to think of is identifying what the month is going to look like before the month happens. The biggest reason why people fall into this whole window of I'm consistent, I'm inconsistent, I'm consistent, I'm inconsistent is because you do this one thing where every single day, every single week, every single month, you expect yourself to have the same goal, the same expectations, and to show up for yourself the exact same, or you're trying to be. And that's consistent. And how many times do we get discouraged or disappointed in ourselves because we weren't able to track this day? We were super inconsistent this day. This month, we didn't lose any weight. This month, we gained weight. This month, we lost weight. It's all over the place. And I want you to really ask yourself, is it reasonable for you to literally look at your journey as a whole? Let's just say you have to lose 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever. And for you to sit there and say, from the very beginning, day one, all the way until I hit my goal, I'm going to show up every week, every month, every day, the exact same. No. If you do that, that's super unhealthy. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It is pretty unhealthy unless you are doing a hardcore cut. You're doing a 6-week cut, an 8-week cut, and where you are legitly every single day waking up and you are crushing it. You are freaking locked in. You're saying no to every outing. You are like locked in. People do that. That's a lot of times you will see bodybuilders do it. You'll see people do it for competitions, like bikini competitions, whatever you call that. But your average Joe who is just like, I just want to lose weight and I want to get healthy, personally not what I would recommend for people, and so forth. Because I've seen it pan out in just a lot of different ways. I know a lot of coaches. I'm friends with a lot of coaches, of course, and I've coached a ton of women who have come from systems kind of like that and programs that also push that and so forth. So what we want to do is we want to identify what the month is going to be based off of what the month has in store for us and go from there. If I'm looking at July, and I know July, I'm taking 2 trips. I have a family vacation I have to go on that's going to last about 5 days. I also have to go on a work trip that might be another like week away. The month of July, I'm going to be kind of MIA. I'm not going to be in a place where I'm tracking calories and macros. I'm not going to be super consistent, within that realm to be able to lose the weight that I would want to lose. So I would look at July and be like, all right, these are the days that I am going to be out of my deficit. This is, again, all advice that I'm giving to you is if you're on a weight loss journey or if you have a goal, I guess, in mind, physical goal. It doesn't matter if you're gaining or losing weight, whatever your goal is, but you have a physique goal, a certain health goal that you're shooting for. But you're looking at July and you're like, all right, I'm going to be out all these days. We know if we're not tracking our calories and macros and we're not, eating in a deficit for how many days did I say? 12 days. We know that we're not really going to see weight loss that much. When we look at that, we identified those are the days that we're going to be out of our deficit. So all the days in between that, it would be great for us to know that those are the days that we're really going to show up for ourselves. We're going to pour into ourselves, and we're not going to make this month a little bit, messy, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to look at July and be like, oh, well, I'm traveling this week, so screw it. I'm just going to eat Whataburger every day, and I'm not going to go to the gym, and I'm not going to, I'm going to eat ice cream all day, every day. You see what I'm saying? That's probably horrible examples, but I'm not going to just scratch the month of July just because I know I'm not going to lose any weight. We still want to intentionally show up for ourselves during these months, even though we know we might not lose weight this month, and there's a big reason for that, and we'll get into that later. Now we're going into August. Let's just say, August, I know I have no trips planned. There's actually no events. I have nothing going on. I know I'll actually be able to really, truly dedicate myself to my journey in the month of August. Things are going to be really, really chill for me for the most part. So look at August, look at your dates. I always tell people, okay, you need to still schedule some days, which I like to call balance days or freedom days, where you are out of your deficit, because it can be difficult to constantly have it to where it's like, just because I'm planned doesn't really mean that you're not going to have anything come up. So I always say keep in your pocket 3 or 4 days that you can whip out that are balance days. Or I know for myself, mentally, I had to have the days already scheduled. Because if not, I would just be whipping out those balance days, and then I'd be really inconsistent. You see what I'm saying? As soon as I wanted something, I'd just whip out that. And so it's like, it didn't work out for me, and hopefully this makes sense. But I just always had to schedule and look at what my month to a T was going to look like. I needed to look on a calendar and be like, okay, all of August, these are days I'm using my balance days. These are days I'm not tracking calories and macros and giving myself a break. But all the days in between, I am showing up and showing out. I am making sure I'm hitting my calories and macros. I am making it happen. Now, you do that, and what you will learn is that you will see better results. Why? It's because in these months, what you will experience is a lot of accountability. You will see yourself not slipping and not, I hate using the word slipping, but you won't see yourself kind of just throwing in the towel or making decisions that you normally would just out of instinct. But you will catch yourself holding yourself more accountable because you know today is a day that you're supposed to be consistent. Again, you're not having this mindset that every single day needs to be consistent to where it's impossible to do that. So you will fall into this whole mindset of being loose with yourself, loose with your discipline, loose with when you're consistent, when you're not consistent. Does that make sense? I know this sounds really kind of bad. Some of my versions might be bad, but I'm just going to try to be blunt about things and just going to be honest about things in order for you to lose weight, in order for you to see phenomenal results, especially if you're someone who was like me, who wanted to have a true body recomposition, a true transformation of the body where I'm not losing muscle mass, I'm able to lose just body fat and literally reshape, redefine, tone up, have a sick transformation through a massive weight loss. It requires you to be very consistent. But you need to also have balance. And that is what I know you've heard a million times. You're like, okay, I know I need to be consistent, but I know I shouldn't fall in all or nothing mentality, but I also need balance, but I can't have too much balance. It can feel like, okay, what is right? What is it supposed to look like? And this month priority that you just do before the month even starts. Like I wanted to do this podcast because now we're in mid-July. You have the ability to look at August, go ahead and map out what do you have planned in August? What are the events? What are the days that you know you're not going to track your calories and macros? What are the days that you want to set your balance days on? All the days in between those days, you're consistent. Now let's slow this down a little bit. A lot of times we can look at our weeks and think, I've been really, really consistent this week. Why have I not seen weight loss? And what I tend to do with a lot of my clients, and this is why I love the fact that I do weekly check-ins with my clients and why I tell my clients never to miss this. And regardless if you had the worst week ever, never miss this because this is data. This is literally data, and data never lies. If you look back at your check-ins and let's review all of June. If you lost 3 pounds in June. Let's reflect back. Let's look at your weeks and we can see that out of the entire month of June, we really were only consistent for the first week of June. But we were only hit our calories and macros 2 days. The second week of June, we hit our calories and macros 4 days, the third week of June. And then the last week, we really didn't hit our calories and macros at all. That's kind of a bit extreme, but that is true. A lot of times we can tend to do that, or our memory is shortened. Sometimes we'll have it to where we're like, I've been on my journey for 3 months and I haven't seen any results. I used to be so bad about that. I used to say that all the time when I first started my journey. Y'all know my first 6 months, I didn't see any results. And I would sit there and be like, it's been a month, it's been 2 months, it's been 3 months, it's been 4 months, whatever. And I haven't seen any results. And it's funny because if I really sat there and allowed myself to actually reflect on my journey and my consistency, I would realize I would only complain about not seeing results after a week of finally being consistent. But before that, I would have weeks and months of not being consistent. And it's a very normal reaction. It's a lot of energy. We're using a lot of energy. It feels like so much work with showing up and trying to be consistent, that when we have a week that we finally are consistent and we're crushing it, it can kind of blur our memory sometimes and be like, oh, it hasn't been as long as you think. You might have been on your journey for this long, but your consistency hasn't been here at all. That's been short-lived. That's why you should never think about how long you've been on your journey, because you're just if you're someone, especially like me, that had a lot of changing to do, a lot of healing to do, a lot of overcoming to do, especially in the nutritional realm. You're going to have to be patient with yourself, and you're going to have to throw out that time clock and get over it, because you just got to give yourself the ability to change and have a safe place to grow in. And you're the one making it to where you're making it feel like a lot of pressure. It's not easy to overcome eating disorders. It's not easy to overcome and change your lifestyle. It's not easy to go from I used to eat out every single meal to now I'm cooking every meal. Like, none of those things are easy changes to make, but once they're made, it's really easy to keep them going. Does that make sense? It's your new norm. But when you look at your month as a whole, it will reveal what your results are. If you have been kicking butt and you've been consistent, and let's just say you've been out of your deficit for 3 or 4 days out of a 30-day month. So out of 30 days, you only had like 3 days you're out of your deficit. But all the other days you hit your calories and macros and you crushed your deficit, you're going to see in what I like to call max results. This is going to be max results where you will lose 2 to 3 to sometimes, if you built muscle in this month too, 4% of body fat and maybe 10 pounds of body fat, which is phenomenal. Everyone's different. It's ideal, obviously, as y'all know, to lose 2 pounds of body fat per week. But sometimes our bodies will have these like what's the word called? Hyperburn. Like, I've had months where I safely, without any muscle loss, and actually even gain a little bit of muscle too, was able to lose more than 2 pounds of body fat per week. But I never did it per week. I just looked at it as a month view. Does that make sense? That's a month that you want to have. You want to have that as often as you can, but every single month, is that going to be the case? It can, for sure. But it's not real life for most people, is what I'm trying to get at. But what happens is that we're falling into this place where we're expecting ourselves to always be that girl. No matter if you have the most craziest month ahead, or you're traveling, or you have like 50 family members at your house that you're having to host for whatever, like, I don't know, for a holiday or something. It's unrealistic to always expect that out of you every single day, every single week, every single month. Okay, you feel me? You get my drift here? But that's what you do. You wake up and you expect that level of consistency, and that is why you find yourself inconsistent. Because little do you know, you teach yourself a number of things. You teach yourself that, I think that a lot of times we can kind of get in our head that we lack discipline, or we lack willpower, or we lack the ability to be consistent, because we will have those months or those weeks or whatever situations where it is almost impossible or extremely difficult or just unrealistic, like I said, to track your calories and macros or be 100% in your health journey in a sense of like that level of consistency. And so when you are actually in a place where you can be consistent and you can have a banger month and you can have a banger week and all these things, and you are able to see max results, you tend to, what's the word I'm looking for? You tend to tank that opportunity. And it's because you're almost used to not showing up for yourself. Does that make sense? It's like you taught yourself it's okay for you not to follow through, that you'll just do better tomorrow, or you'll just do better next week. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I think your mind is starting to clock here. I think you're clocking it with me, where you're like, that makes a lot of sense. I do it to myself all the time. I honestly have been struggling this year myself with locking into some habits, because I got really lax with saying I was going to do something and not taking myself serious and not doing it. And now it's been a mental battle to just like break that mindset of like, girl, literally chill. You know what I'm saying? But I am telling you right now, on my 120-pound weight loss journey, I would not have lost weight. I would not have lost 120 pounds if I did not implement this. Now, I want you to also remember, like I said, that's an extremely locked in month. Some months you're going to be consistent and you're still going to see weight loss. Like, you can still lose 3 to 7 pounds a month, and maybe your days are more like 4 days, or maybe it was like 5 days out of the entire month that you were out of your calorie deficit. When you get to where you identify what your month is and you follow through with that, you will see in return these type of results. It doesn't fail. I see this with my clients. I actually have it to where some of them fill in the sheet because they might say, hey, Mare, like, I've been this and this and this consistent. And I'm like, all right, that's incredible. I'm seeing that on your check-ins. Let's go ahead and have you fill out this like sheet every single day and we'll review it and so forth. And when they do that, they're like, actually, I realized there's a lot of days that I didn't actually track and that I just said I tracked. Because our memory tends to get foggy. That's normal. I mean, how many of y'all can sit here and say, I know exactly what I ate yesterday? Girl, I eat the same thing every day and I still struggle to remember. Like, it's just a thing. And so what we do is that we fall into this, I've been consistent, I'm doing everything right, but I'm not seeing results. And it's a lie that we feed ourselves a little too comfortably. And I say that again, as there's a lot of layers here. This is something as if you don't have something wrong, but and that you're not medically going through right now. But for the average person who really, like I said, is trying to lose weight and tend to be in this like stuck, stubborn part, it just comes down to not having a true game plan. So what I want you to do, and what if this resonates with you, if you've been struggling with your consistency, like you've been consistent, you've been inconsistent, you're consistent, you're inconsistent, and you are literally someone that's been trying to shoot for the same goal every single day, and that's just to, I don't know, stick to the plan, but you just cannot seem to do this. I literally want you to try this in August, and I'm gonna walk you through the steps. The first thing is get a calendar, and I want you to write down all the days that you have something actually planned. Like, do you have a date night that is scheduled? Do you have a trip that you're going on? Is there your friend's birthday party or bachelorette party that you're going to? Like, write all those days down, okay? And I want you to then, when you write those things down, I want you to identify if these are the days or if these events or things that you're doing will interfere with you being able to be consistent in your calorie deficit. And if they're not, then I want you to, again, still don't worry about like marking that day off as something that's going to get in your way. Like, I'll explain this probably a little bit more. I'm going to have a visual right here. So if you are driving or you're not able to, look at my episode right here, I want you to literally just like come back to this. You can listen to it now, but come back to this so you can get a visual here. I want you to circle the days that you know that you won't be able to actually hit your calorie deficit. So if you know you're going to still be able to hit your calories and macros and be consistent in your nutrition that day, then don't circle that day, but you can still have it on your calendar. All the days in between, I want you to be hella consistent. I want you to show up and show out. And I think with you first trying this, it'd be helpful for you to just check. Probably add a check every day that, just throughout the month so you can track that if you were able to accomplish that. Ideally, what you would tend to see is you will show yourself, holding yourself a little bit more accountable. I know for me, anytime that I was tempted with, maybe getting fast food after work or tempted to just go get drinks with the girls or just kind of throw in the towel on my goals, I noticed when I started doing this, it was beautiful because I would say to myself, no, this is a consistency day. Like, I'm supposed to be really consistent today. This weekend, I have this and this plan. But if I follow through with my game plan this month, I'll still be able to see incredible results. I'll still be able to hit credible results while still being able to enjoy all the events and stuff that I have showing up. But I gotta sacrifice these little wants and these little temptations on the days in between. Because if I keep feeding into it, I'm going to spend yet again another 6 months where I'm not seeing any results. And that's draining and that's exhausting. And I am tired of doing that. And so this essentially is what will help you break that curse. Because it's a curse. It will help you break that curse. And so if you look at your month and you're like, well, Meredith, I don't have anything planned. That's what I said. And so every day would look like a consistency month. I want you to go in there and intentionally write down some days that you're going to give yourself a mental break from your deficit. You can do 2 days for the month. You can do 3 days, whatever. If you want it to be extremely, extremely consistent, you can do even 4 days, and that would even be pretty sick. I would personally recommend for people who have a month where it's like completely open, to do every other weekend, to where you have 2 full weeks that you're 100% in your calorie deficit macros, but you have one Friday, one Saturday, or you have 2 Fridays and 2 Saturdays out of the entire month that you're just out of your deficit, and you give yourself a mental break. So that gives you 2 weekends out of that month that you can just like enjoy yourself, give yourself a little bit of a break, do you, whatever. I used to do that, and I would just go to the movies, get me some popcorn, just like live my best life, or go hang with the girls, go do the thing, have a date night with my hubs, and I would just enjoy that sense of freedom. Because, and I say this, because it is also important to practice balance. It is also important to give yourself breaks so you don't get mentally fatigued. This is a system that only works if you enjoy it. This is not a system that will work if you genuinely make it impossible to do, and your expectations for yourself on the months that you're going to be consistent are so extreme that you just don't enjoy, that it's just hard to, I don't know, get yourself to keep doing. I enjoyed this process so much because it helped me with being consistent to finally see results. It gave me the perfect balance of being able to enjoy every event, every vacation, every date night, but it also held me accountable to let go of all the small crap that doesn't matter, and all these small little moments of not showing up for myself or staying consistent or staying disciplined, just out of like not knowing how much those little things were interfering with my results. And it helped me with actually sharpening my mindset. It helped me with self-accountability. And it is something that drastically changed my journey. And so again, once I cracked that code, I followed that same structure literally for a year and a half. So I started actually seeing results. I lost 50 pounds before my wedding day. I then, of course, ended up hitting my 120-pound weight loss goal around that 2-year mark of my weight loss journey. So I went from not losing a single pound for 6 months to finally understanding that I can't just wake up every single day and say, you should do good today, because it didn't work. And I just realized I got to change my system. This is, again, something I do with a huge amount of my clients. Like a huge portion of my clients do this. And again, I introduce it to some of them at certain points in their journey, and it works. It works if they follow it. It works if they implement it. But it can feel like an adjustment at first. Like the first month, it will be an adjustment because you're getting used to it. But I will challenge you all. And if you're going to do this, I would be obsessed with the fact if you let me know in the comments, and then also keep me updated in the process. But if you're going to do this for the month of August, go ahead and start planning out and mapping out your month now and writing this down so you can mentally prepare yourself for whatever the month is going to be. I know that a lot of moms tend to have a very crazy, hectic August. So this might not be a consistent month for you in August. That's okay. You should still start this. And you should still realize that there's so many days that you can still show up for yourself and really implement this, because this is also another thing that I really love about this whole system and structure, is the fact that it teaches you to show up for yourself, not for reward, but for health. So it will tell you, hey, I still need to stay focused on these habits. I still need to be intentional with tracking. I still need to do my workouts. I still need to drink water. I still need to go on walks, because this is essential for my health. But it's also something that I have to continue doing and putting into practice, because I need to be able to do it on the months that I can be consistent to see weight loss. But just because I know this month is going to be crazy, I don't need to have this, I'm a completely different person on the months that I can't lock in versus the months that I'm going to be consistent. And that's why people tend to lose and gain the same 10 pounds, is because they do that. They go through cycles instead of making changes. And so there are so many layers as to why this system works, but I am telling you right now, you should do it. I know actually I wouldn't have been able to lose 120 pounds if I didn't implement this. And this kind of goes hand in hand with that whole system of the every other weekend rule that I've talked about. It goes hand in hand with this, but this was created first. That system came into play because this came into play. Anywho, I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry it was a little bit all over the place. I'm going to give visuals, so this probably would be a solid podcast to watch back and kind of look at, but I'm going to have some examples here and we'll go from there. But I love you guys. Let me know if y'all love little tips and tricks like this. And if you implement it, definitely keep me updated. I'll be rooting you on. And yeah, love you guys. Bye.